Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby. And this is episode... Oh no.
9.
9?
9, I believe.
Okay.
And we're almost up to 300 plays. We're at 299.
Oh, who's going to be that last play?
I know.
Who's going to do it for us?
And also over the week, we got Brazil as a new country that started listening. Ooh. Thank you, Brazil.
Nice. So how are you?
I'm doing all right. Just living that mom life of summer camps and summer and hot and...
Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
So we're in the Pacific Northwest, and so people who live here know that it doesn't rain every day of the year. We do have summer.
It's different.
But sometimes our summers are like really intense because we are so used to the cooler weather. Like it kind of hits harder. I think it's like there's no middle ground. Like it's like cold, wet, and then it's 100 degrees.
Yeah. Yes.
There's like no like leading up to it. And I was recently in Utah and for a family reunion, and it was 110 degrees.
No, thank you.
Okay, just because we have international listeners, I want to see how hot that is. So that's almost 44 degrees Celsius. Almost. Like it's like 43 point blah, 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 blah. But it's almost 44 degrees Celsius if you are live in countries that they use that. But 110 degrees Fahrenheit, almost 44 degrees Celsius. It was, ooh.
I melt at that point and I am just useless.
Yeah, we were at a family reunion and they had an outside freezer in their garage and it was completely full of ice cream bars.
Nice.
Like we just like kept stocking ice cream bars. And I think my children had more ice cream in that week of being at their grandma and grandpa's than they've had all year. Like it was a lot.
YOLO, man.
I know. They were so good. They had one that was like a cherry ice cream, but then it was dipped in chocolate. Ooh, so good. But yeah, it was so hot. And it was like the kind of hot where like you can't be outside, but you want to play outside, but you have to play outside at 7 a.m. or 10 at night.
Utah is a very dry hot.
Oh. But it was so weird because it was so humid. It was like sticky.
That's weird for Utah.
I know. It was so like, it was very suffocating. It was, but it was so fun, but also 110 degrees.
Right.
But, so you had summer camps. I heard that your daughter was in a little play.
Yes, she was in James and the Giant Peach, and it was freaking adorable. This is her first like theater experience, and I was really worried what would happen when she got actually on stage. But it was like very much a cross in between. I'm taking my role very seriously, and I'm following the other kids, and looking at my husband and I, and just like awkwardly smiling, like so proud of herself, but like, hi. I died. I just died. Like when she first got on stage, like immediate tears. Like,
oh, well, duh.
Proud mama.
That's the role of a mother, of a parent, when they're watching their kid on stage, is you have to cry.
Oh, okay.
So I read that book recently with the kids. That doll guy is like, we think Tolkien has some weird stuff. That guy is like, well, let's just do this. That makes sense. Kids won't notice that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a part, not to spoil if you haven't read James and the Giant Peach, but the main character's parents died in the beginning because they got eaten by a runaway rhinoceros from the zoo.
Right.
So, totally plausible.
Sure.
Stuff that happens every day.
Sure.
Like, I was like, what the heck? Like, we read other books from him. It was like a compilation series of, we had all these books. And they're pretty short, so we can read them really fast. But man, I would really want to know what he is in how he was in real life, because his writings are like so weird. Sometimes you're like, okay, sure. Like, all right.
Let's put Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Roald Dahl,
No,
because
that's not
that's
how
how
you
I
say his
say
name.
it.
I learned how you say his name.
That's how I say it. That's why I say Roald Dahl, and everyone knows who I'm talking about. And then also Disney, and just put them in a room and see what happens.
I saw a tweet about Roald Dahl. It was like, publisher, so you've given us a book about a big friendly giant, one about, oh, that's my favorite one, the BFG is the best one about an enormous crocodile, another one where a granny takes some magic medicine and grows as big as a house. What's new? Roald Dahl. So there's this peach. Publisher, is it Roald Dahl? It's huge. Like, everything is huge in his books. It's so funny.
Indeed.
Which I think is such a cute way to have a perspective from a child, because, like, everything's big, right?
True. Yeah.
He's very child friend. Like, he's very much perspective of a child, which is so cute.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, it's how their logical thinking, how everything's big and magical, and
made up words.
Witches are scary, and
yeah,
like a magical land of candy and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, we're not talking about Roald Dahl. We are talking about
Tolkien.
Where are we in the Silmarillion right now?
I will send you a picture of my bookmark. It is very sad.
No.
We're not that far.
You'll have to post it on the Instagram of what your bookmark looks like.
Okay. We're on chapter 6.
Chapter 6. How many chapters are there altogether?
I was just about to look at that. Preface. And of course, there's like a huge appendix in the back too, I'm sure. Oh, and that's the other thing. The Ainulindale Dale is its own thing. The Valaquenta is its own thing. And then the Quenta Silmarillion is chapter 1. It's redonkulous.
Oh.
Figure it out, Tolkien. Okay. So the last chapter... Oh, and of course it's its own section too. It doesn't have like a chapter. And then the next one after that is its own section. Chapter 23? That doesn't sound right. Oh, maybe it is right. So 23 chapters and then like 2 other sections.
Oh, so we're still at the beginning, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. So last time you listened.
Yeah. Last episode.
Oh,
they went on that magical floating island.
Yes. So all the elves are now on Aemon. The Vanyar, they were living in the elven home, Eldamar place, but they liked it more in Valinor, so they moved to Valinor, and they hang out with the Valar, mainly Monwë and Varda, but they're pretty happy in Valinor. The Noldor has King Finwë, and they are in Eldamar, or Elvenhome, and their city is called Tirion, or it's on the Tuna Hill. Stupid Tuna Hill. And then the Teleri have King Olwë, who is Elwë Thingol Love Bubble Guy's brother. And they were on that island ferry boat, Tol Eressëa, but then they decided they wanted to be with everyone else. So Osei taught them how to make boats, gave them the giant swans.
Okay, speaking of the giant swans, do you think they're as big as the eagles?
That would be awesome.
I think they're that big. Because if you look at like how big swans and eagles are in real world, they're not that far apart of how big they are compared to each other.
Yeah.
So if like they were big like the eagles, I'm sure that they were big enough to pull the boats.
Right. And actually, I just made a post about that today. Like, is this how you envisioned them? Because I found a picture and it's them flying. Do swans even fly?
They do.
But they're like flying, pulling the boat. I had them like towing it, like swimming, but
Oh.
I don't know. That's how I thought it was. But
Yeah, swans fly.
well, I mean, do they fly like a ton?
Don't they migrate?
I thought that was geese. Anyway,
Anyway, we're not here to discuss swans.
so the swans help them get to Eldamar, Elvenhome. And Eldamar, Elvenhome, just a quick reminder, is kind of like their country, their section of land, but they have their own cities within that.
Oh, it's the name of the land, not the name of the cities or anything.
Correct. The city for the Noldor is Tirion, and the name for the city for the Teleri is Alqualande.
Ooh.
And this is all on the main continent of Aemon.
Okay.
So they're on the same continent as Valinor.
Okay.
Okay. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So all three main elf groups are on Aemon. Melkor is still in chains. Life is good. This time is called, quote, the noontide of the blessed realm, the fullness of its glory and its bliss. Long in tale of years, but in memory too brief.
Ooh.
Like, I wish this could last forever.
Yeah.
So during this time, the elves are kind of growing up as much as elves can, because again, it's not really talked about in what form they came to Middle Earth, because it doesn't say they were children, but I guess we could say they like are coming into their prime of life. I don't know.
Their midlife crisis. They're mid 30s now. Mid 300s.
Mid 300s. So the Noldor, they are especially learning a lot. They are making lots of cool new things, including the first invention of letters. They are just now making, quote, fitting signs for recording of speech and song, some for graving upon metal or in stone, others for drawing with brush or with pen.
Oh.
So they're like advancing as a culture.
Yeah.
They got the written word now.
Isn't there names of the different kinds of writing and Elvish and stuff?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're not that far.
Okay.
Stop getting ahead, Abby.
Okay.
So, this is also when we meet a very important new character.
I'm
Are you ready?
ready.
So, his name is Feanor.
Feanor?
Feanor. F as in Frank, Eanor,
Okay.
which means spirit of fire.
Feanor.
Feanor. Now, he is Finwë, king of the Noldor, his eldest son.
Okay. So, like, the prince of them.
The prince, yes. And his mother's name is Muriel Surinde.
Uh-huh. Not to make it any more complicated.
Right? Oh, just you wait.
Yeah.
She was really good at weaving and needlework. Quote, for her hands were more skilled to fineness than any hands, even among the Noldor.
Sorry. Quick side note. I went somewhere when I was in Utah and they were showing how to do lace.
Oh.
This just reminded me of it. Like how they make like old-fashioned lace.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that stuff is crazy. I don't know how people know how to do that. That's insane. When you just said that, I just thought about that. Like, yeah, you have to be like super talented to know how to do that stuff.
Right. And the only reason I mentioned it, because I mean, unfortunately she's a brief character, is because I think Feanor might have like inherited some of that skill, and that will make more sense later on.
Cool.
So Muriel and Finwë's relationship was actually very good. You know, they were in love, they were very happy.
They were a healthy couple.
They were a healthy couple.
They went to counseling together. They knew Had to be happy.
They had their date nights.
Yeah. They put themselves first. They had priorities that made the relationship healthy.
They never went to bed angry.
They knew they shared responsibilities.
Yeah. However, after Feanor was born, Muriel was, quote, consumed in spirit and body. And after his birth, she yearned for release from the labor of living.
She had postpartum.
Yes.
Oh
Pretty
no.
much. No,
Oh no.
that's a good way. Yeah. And I think, I mean, both Abby and I are obviously moms and have given birth, but all my other mamas out there can kind of relate to this. You're just so tired.
Yeah, and if you have like severe postpartum, that's like a real thing. Like that's like really hard.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of funny that he included that.
So unfortunately, the elves were not skilled in that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Tolkien's wife actually had postpartum.
It's interesting that they would mention that. It's not very,
Right.
I mean, they don't say, and she had postpartum depression,
No, yeah.
but like, it's more of like a beautiful way to say it. But, that would be interesting if it, like, he was maybe going through the same thing with his wife. Like, he loved her so much, and it was maybe hard for him to see her that way. It's just really interesting because no offense to like men
They don't get
in
it.
that era of time.
But they don't
No,
get
in
it.
that era of time,
Oh,
they were not super supportive.
sure. No. You don't discuss childbirth. You don't discuss women's issues. It was just not talked about.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he might have been one of the rare, you know,
Yeah.
breed of men that actually was like concerned and loved his wife very much. And maybe, that would be interesting to know if that was actually what was going on and he kind of based it off of that.
Yeah.
But definitely in his life to know that that was a thing
Yeah.
and to include it. That's really interesting. And it was also really sad. That's sad.
As far as I know, I have not heard that she has ever had that problem, but it's an interesting idea.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, kind of like a postpartum situation. And she was just so tired, she wanted to die.
Oh.
So much so that
I mean, I know that, but
so much so that, quote, never again shall I bear child, for strength that would have nourished the life of many has gone forth into Feanor.
wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty deep.
yeah. Now, this made her husband, Finway, really sad. He saw themselves as still in the prime of their lives. He wanted lots of children, and so he didn't know what to do. So he asked Monway for some advice. And he recommended taking her to Lorien. Remember, Lorien is supposed to be like a place of healing and rest, kind of like a day
A
spa.
spa.
Yeah, she just needs a spa day. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
So Finway takes Muriel to Lorien, and he actually leaves her there thinking, this is going to be exactly what she needs. She's going to get some rest. He'll come back, and everything will be good again.
Talk about a great husband.
Right?
Looking out for his wife, like asking for help, knowing what she needs. I mean,
Kudos.
husband, like MVP.
But before he leaves, Finway is still really sad about this whole ordeal. And he didn't want his wife, the mother of his newborn child, to miss out on their baby's earliest days.
Oh.
And Muriel tells him, quote, "It is indeed unhappy, and I would weep if I were not so weary.
Oh gosh.
But hold me blameless in this, and in all that may come after."
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really deep.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, this is the last conversation they have.
Oh no.
Finway leaves. Muriel goes into the gardens of Lorien, and she is just so exhausted. She lies down, and to everyone else, it looks like she's just sleeping. But, quote, her spirit indeed departed from her body and passed in silence to the halls of Mandos.
She died from exhaustion?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Muriel essentially is dead.
Oh no.
Este, the healer, Lorien's wife, tends to her body And, it remains intact. It still looks like she's just sleeping, but her spirit just never returns to it.
Oh, sad.
Oh, just wait. So now Finway finds out. He goes to Lorien and he is heartbroken. He sits by her body and, quote, called her by her names.
Okay.
It sounds funny, but you can also imagine it like, Muriel, my love, just calling her by all of the names, like anything, please just come back to me.
His pet names for her.
Sweetie Pie, Honey Bunch.
Yeah.
And he actually tries this multiple times. He keeps going back to Lorien, he keeps trying, but nothing brings her spirit back. And after a while, he just stops going and he just focuses on his new son.
Oh. Ah.
Yeah.
What? How sad.
So Feanor, quote, grew swiftly as if a secret fire were kindled within him.
Okay.
Weird thing to say because they always mention secret fire as in like the fire of like creation, like from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Like, does he somehow have part of that, but no one else did? How did she do that? Like, there's just not really much explained there.
Maybe it's like in Harry Potter where the mom gives him like her last of her energy, and it's
Maybe, yeah.
something like that.
But just take from that Feanor is special. Like, he is just very special.
Okay.
He was described as tall. He had a fair complexion. He had raven dark hair, and
Ooh.
his eyes were, quote, piercingly bright.
Beautiful. Handsome.
Mm-hmm. Quote, in the pursuit of all his purposes, eager and steadfast. Few ever changed his courses by counsel, none by force. So he sounds very headstrong. Everything is done on his terms, and you can't make him do something he doesn't want to do.
Yeah. Sounds only child energy.
Yes. But he's actually very smart. He actually helped the other Noldor work on the letter writing system that they were starting. And he was also the first one to figure out how to make gems that were bigger and brighter than the ones they had found on Eamon.
Ooh.
And the first gems that he made were described as white and colorless. But if you put them under starlight, they would, quote, blaze with blue and silver fires brighter than Helluin. Remember, Helluin was like their North Star.
Oh yeah.
So he can make some really cool gems that looked cool, but also he made functional things too. He also made crystals similar to that of like, it sounds like binoculars, so that you could see things from far away.
Wow.
You could see them clear, like you had like eagle eyes or
Huh.
something.
Cool. I want crystal binoculars.
I know. Quote, seldom were the hands and mind of Feanor at rest.
I want to see someone's take on like trying to make cool old binoculars.
Yeah, that would be cool.
People like that, I feel like maybe they're trying to make up for, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
They're trying to distract themselves from the fact that you killed their mom.
yeah, they're like, I killed my mom, but I'm gonna do good in life. I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah. Kind of sounds like an inventor to me, just always like tinkering, always busy at something.
Like Tony Stark.
Ooh, yes, I like that.
Only child.
Only
Super
child,
smart.
yeah.
Doesn't let anybody tell him what to do. His
Yeah,
parents
I like this.
died and he's sad about it.
Oh, man.
He's like a prince where he's like super rich and he can do whatever, and he's like in charge of a lot of stuff. But he's also really smart and he's kind in a way that people might not see as kind, but he is kind.
So far, it's fitting in my brain, but I'm trying to remember later on how clear it will actually fit. Okay, so Feanor eventually got himself a girl.
Naturally, because so handsome. I mean, that beautiful hair, those sparkly eyes.
Rich, eligible prince looking for a princess. Uh, the elf he marries is named
Spell it.
Nerdanel. I was trying to remember how to say it. Nerdanel. It literally looks like the word nerd, and then Anel. Nerd Anel? But it said the
Nerdano?
Dan, or not, but it said to
Ner
make it sound like day, like the word day,
Nerdano?
or Nerdanel.
Nerdano?
Yeah,
Nerdano?
yeah, yeah.
That is not a pretty
So,
name. I'm gonna
no, it is
say it.
not. So I'm just gonna call her the nerd girl.
Oh.
That nerd girl. No, I am not. I'm just kidding. But it just doesn't help that that's like the first half of her name. Um, her father was actually one of the greatest smiths to work with Aule, and she actually kind of had a bit of that too. She had a bit of the skills and
Talent.
talent. Thank you. She was also pretty headstrong, but she also knew when to be patient and understanding. And at times, she could even help calm Feanor down when, quote, the fire of his heart grew too hot.
Oh.
I love that term, and I will be using it from now on. Thank you, Tolkien. But I think I'm going to use it maybe for like PMS, like the fire of my
Yeah.
fire of my ovaries grew too hot. Sorry if that's TMI for you guys out there, but
Of my womb. The fires of my womb.
So Nerdanel and Feanor would have 7 sons together. But
7 sons.
7 sons. Suffice it to say, Feanor is gonna do some stuff later
That sounds ominous.
that she's not gonna like.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it makes her really sad, and they separate after it happens.
Spoilers.
That's what Tolkien spoils himself.
Okay.
I know. Some of the sons inherited her personality, more patience and understanding. However, some were more like their father, Feanor.
Oh my gosh, Pepper Potts, Tony
Mm-hmm.
Stark.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like, I'm kind of liking this. Let's go with it. So, it's been a while now, and Finwë, Feanor's father, has been without a wife since Muriel has died. So, he actually decides to get remarried.
Aw, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. His second wife is named Indis the Fair.
At least she has a prettier name, but yes. Okay, Indus.
Indis. She is actually one of the Vanyar, so he's going outside of his. He's a Noldor, so he's going outside of his clan.
Ooh.
And she was actually one of Ingwe, who's the king of the Vanyars, close kin. So she's kind of close to royalty as well.
Ooh.
She was tall and had golden hair and was pretty much the opposite of Muriel, the first wife.
Oh. Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
You don't want a reminder of your first
yeah.
one. Finwë loved her very much, and they were happy, and she made him happy again. But he never forgot his first wife, and Feanor, quote, had ever the chief share of his thought.
What does that mean?
So that sounds pretty healthy. Like, he did get married. He has a second wife, but Feanor came first.
Yeah.
Like, he always thought of Feanor first, which, not gonna lie, that sounds healthy to me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to put your new wife before your son. That sounds unhealthy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, Feanor was not happy with this marriage. He didn't like Indis, and he certainly didn't like her 2 sons that would come later.
His wicked stepbrothers.
Yes. They have that weirdest name. Fingolfin.
Fingolfin?
Yes. And Finarfin.
Oh my gosh. What the?
In hindsight, this marriage would be the cause of all that happened later with Feanor. Tolkien just kind of is theorizing here. If Finwë had just not gotten married and just resigned himself to be alone with his son, quote, great evil might have been prevented. For the sorrow and the strife in the house of Finwë is graven in the memory of the Noldoran elves.
Oh.
Yeah. But on the other hand, he also says that the two sons of Indus, Fingolfin and Finarfin, would play a major role.
I'm
I know.
sorry. That's so weird. Okay.
Finn was Golfin and
Yeah.
Finner was Finnin.
Yeah.
would play
Super easy to remember.
They would play a major role as well in the future. Quote, and if they had not lived, the history of the Eldar would have been diminished.
Whoa.
All right. So now we are back to Melkor. When he was imprisoned, he was supposed to be imprisoned for 3 ages, and now that time is up. So he was brought before Monwë and the other Valar for basically like his probation hearing. Are you ready to go out into society?
Have you learned anything in your time in jail? Have you grown? Do you feel like you've changed?
I'm gonna say no. Um, in his mind, when Melkor was being brought before the Valar, he's walking in and he's seeing all their new riches. Everyone's happy, everyone's peaceful, and he's just like, they're having fun without me. And he even sees that the elves have got all this rich and happiness too, and he's just like, and even the stepchildren have it too. Oh no, this will not do. But out loud, he tells everyone, I'm sorry. I'll help, repair the damage if you set me free, and I'll make everything right again. And, quote, Nienna aided his prayer, but Mandos was silent.
Mm.
So Nienna is rooting for him. Mandos, remember, he has that like power of the future, like he can see into the future. So he just is like, I'm gonna just keep my opinions to myself for now and see how this plays out.
Yeah.
So Monwë actually decides to let him go. He's persuaded by his apology. He's moved by his offer to help.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Monwë sees Melkor as his brother. They were made from the same, creator, and he thought that the evil that was in him had been cured.
Yeah. I mean, as a sibling, you always want to think the best and hope for the best.
Right. Quote, for Monwë was free from evil and could not comprehend it, and he saw not to the depths of Melkor's heart, and did not perceive that all love had departed from him forever.
Oh no!
Yeah. So he's a lost cause, but Monwë he's his brother, and he wants to believe the best in him.
Yeah. Oh.
So Nienna, remember, is the empath. She just wants to believe the best in everyone too. So she and Monwë are all in favor for, probation, rehabilitation.
Uh-huh.
Mandos is just keeping his opinions to himself, but Ulmo did not trust Melkor, and Tulkas, quote, clenched his hands whenever he saw Melkor, his foe, go by. That son of a...
Yeah. Why I oughta.
But they all obeyed Monwë's decision to let him free. So Melkor's free. What's he gonna do? Well, he looks at the elves and he tries to find easy targets. He hates them for getting him imprisoned in the first place. He still blames it all on them. Things would have been just fine. I could have done all I wanted if those stupid elves hadn't gotten me in trouble.
Those meddling kids.
So he wants to corrupt them. So he pretends to be their friends and, pretends to help them, but he's looking for easy prey. So he's looking at his options. So you got the Vanyar. They aren't very easily corruptible. They have their 2 trees. They have the Valar as their friends. They're pretty content. They don't have any ambition or greed. They aren't going to be very easily swayed.
Yeah.
So then he looks at the Teleri. And for some reason, he just doesn't think that they're worth his time. Quote, thinking them of little worth, tools too weak for his designs.
Oh, the nerve.
I know. Like, what did they do to you?
Yeah.
So the only group that's left is the Noldor.
Okay. Those poor sweet babies.
Yeah. So remember, the Noldor love to learn, they love to build things. So, what perfect targets for Melkor to corrupt by teaching them things they can't learn from anyone else?
Oh.
Quote, but the Noldor took delight in the hidden knowledge that he could reveal to them, and some hearkened to works that it would have been better for them never to have heard.
Pirating. Pirating music. Pirating movies.
Yes. Later, Melkor would brag that it was him that taught Feanor all that he knew, but actually, Feanor, as we have learned, he can't be made to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Uh-huh.
Quote, for Feanor was driven by the fire of his own heart only.
I like that quote. That's a good one.
Yeah. It doesn't really explain, but Feanor hated Melkor. And it was actually Feanor that first called him Morgoth.
Whoa. That's a cool fact.
Yeah. And that's actually where I'm going to leave you today.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So he's out of prison. He's out of his
Mm-hmm.
chains. He did his 3 life sentences. He's pretending to be normal and trying to get on the trusting side of the elves before he, ruins them, basically.
Basically, yes.
But Feanor, right? Feanor?
Feanor.
Feanor doesn't trust him at all and already hates him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he was told as like a child, like the stories of the battle of
Maybe.
him? And he's like, why are you guys believing him? He's no good.
But you think they would all heard those stories, though?
Yeah. But maybe it's because his dad is like an upper guy and he got a more true account, of what was going on. Or maybe that fire within is like a compass, a moral compass, and he knows what's not good.
I have one idea. I think it's more that Feanor is very talented. He loves working on things, he loves inventing things, but he is a lone wolf. He doesn't like getting help from other people. He just likes to work by himself. And maybe he's seeing that Melkor Morgoth is helping the other elves. And maybe it's more like a competition thing. Like, I did this by myself and I am making these cool things, and you guys had to have help. I don't know.
Gross.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like there is a very like overconfident part of Feanor. Like, there is a very much a superior complex with him.
Mm. Make up for maybe like,
Make daddy proud.
yeah, but also maybe like people around him were like, oh, there's the kid that like made his mom die, like
Maybe.
let's see if he's worth anything, you know
Mm-hmm.
or it might be like trying to live up to the big name of his dad, like
Maybe.
his dad is an important figure in their community, so maybe I'm on his side. Fian Fe Fe
Feanor.
Feanor. I'm
Feanor.
Feanor.
He is of the Noldor.
That helps.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought so.
I don't know. I feel like I might be wrong. Like I said, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm feeling like I'm liking this character. I like that guy. He's gonna be cool. I might be sticking my foot in my mouth later, but
Yeah. We do have a lot of there's a lot of Team Feanors out there, so
he's giving me Tony Stark vibes, and
yeah.
Tony Stark is like one of my favorites. So
Right.
Well, thank you for teaching me today.
You're welcome.
And hopefully we can get this episode up for next Tolkien Tuesday. Sorry we had to. I mean, we spent time with our families, but there was a lull, a break we had to take for a second for this last Tolkien Tuesday, which is actually today. Sorry, there isn't a new episode, but by the time you guys are hearing this one, you know, you won't even remember that you skipped a week. So
Hopefully, you guys are all cut up now.
I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. If summer is what hemisphere you're in right now. If not, I hope you guys are enjoying your winter. If it's really hot, I hope you're safe and you drink your water, kids. Drink your water.
Yes.
Stay cool. Enjoy your summertime. And thanks for listening. We're glad you're here.
Until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I'm Abby. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.